All right, I am live here. I'm excited to be here. This is Todd Cahill, and we're just going to take a few seconds just to wait for everyone to kind of join us. But I'm excited about this interview today that we're going to stream in about 5 or 6 different platforms on YouTube, on Facebook. And we have an amazing guest today, someone that is just a really great friend of mine. She's incredible. Her story's incredible, and that's why I wanted to have her on today. So again, if you're just joining us, go ahead and comment. We're so glad that you're here. But the topic today is kind of one of those topics that might trigger people. It's not a dramatic topic. It's one of those topics that we hear all the time. And if you're 10 years old, it's probably not a big deal to you. If you're a teenager, it's probably not that. I mean, obviously, there's people that suffer with this, but our metabolisms tend to get, not worse and worse, but tend to not be like teenagers when you hit like 30 and 40. And you might be struggling right now with weight loss. And there's so many fads out there. There's so many different things that I just don't believe in. And that's why we wanted to kind of strike up this conversation today with Monique Jost, because she is a certified energy healer that really is in the modality of the body code and the emotion code. And when you look at the body code, she's going to talk about that. And I'm going to interview her with some questions on how can we get to the root cause of weight gain, and how can we start with the emotional side. And she's actually, towards the end of this, she's going to do some live, kind of a live session on me to get rid of some things that I have. So it's pretty cool. So we're so glad you're here. So Monique, I'm just so glad you're here. Why don't you give us a little bit of background of who you are and what you do? And then I have a few questions for you on the energy side.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Todd, for having me today. It's such a pleasure to be with you always. But yeah, I mean, health and wellness has been my passion for so many years. I'd say at least the last 15 to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the approach that I've always taken is to be, preventative, preemptive. I've always just tried to, be aware of what I'm eating. I started going to a holistic chiropractor many years ago, and he really taught me so much about, foods and, our body and, reading your labels, knowing exactly what it is that you're putting into your body and, being just very aware. So, that's not something I've always been passionate about. And then, my mom and my mother-in-law, they both had cancer. My mother-in-law did pass away from cancer. And so watching them suffer made me just, really like take it up a notch. Like, okay, I do not want to suffer the way that they did. And I don't want my family to suffer the way that they did. So, I knew that there was something more. There's something more that I still needed to understand about the body. And that's when, energy healing came in. The emotion code and body code came in, and I just knew within, a few minutes of watching the documentary Emotion, which talks about how our emotions impact our body. We have emotions that we create ourselves. We have emotions that we absorb and we share with other people. And then we also have inherited, emotions and imbalances. And all of these imbalances impact our body in a negative way. So you can imagine for those people who are struggling to be healthy, and it can go both ways. Like you can be trying to lose weight, which, so many people struggle with. And then some people are underweight who like maybe they've been sick and they've gone through a health crisis, and they're trying to gain weight and really get to really, a healthy place. So, I wanted to create this program, to really help people figure out, what imbalances are preventing them from reaching their goals, really talk about, foods that they're eating, foods that they're not eating, and really give them clarity and freedom, because I think people stress so much about what they're eating, what they're not eating. And like, should I follow a certain diet? Am I eating too many carbs? Am I eating too much fruit? So that's why I want to give people so much peace and clarity and give them healing so that they can achieve their goals.
Well, let's be honest with you. I mean, life is tough, right? Sometimes life is tough, but thank God that God gave us food.
Yeah.
food is the coolest thing in the world. It's like
Yeah.
I love eating great food, but I also love eating dessert and stuff. And I think the older you get, it's almost like guilt, right? We have a lot of guilt
Uh-huh.
with food.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
want to talk about the emotional imbalances because not everyone knows what that means. So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about, as adults, what are some of the emotional imbalances that we see when it does come to food specifically, and how that can almost harm us in that weight loss or gain kind of goals that we're setting?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this all comes from, like what society is feeding us. It's like you should be on keto, you should be on paleo, you know,
Hmm.
you should, be eating not eating that. And it really comes down to like each one of us, like we're different. We've all gone through different experiences. We all have different types of imbalances and emotions that are trapped in our bodies and all affecting us in a different way. So, yeah, I mean, you could go through a situation where, loss of a loved one and you're experiencing grief,
Hmm.
or, you could be going through difficulties in your relationship with your spouse, and you could have, resentment and anger. So, like, these emotions can be building up and building up, or maybe your child is going through something so, difficult, and you have so much stress and worry.
Mm.
So all these imbalances can be just building up and building up, and they're affecting the way that your body functions, and also
Yep.
obviously the way that you feel. And then that can drive you to maybe, bad eating habits, and maybe not exercising the way that you should, with the right
Hmm.
consistency. So there's definitely, I mean, just life. I mean, life, gets in the way, and our bodies create these energies that store within our body. And, they're blocks. They're blocks to where we want to be.
Absolutely. And I always heard too, kind of always the excuses that, oh, I have kids and I don't have time to work out. And
Mhm.
again, there's no judgment here, but if we really are honest with ourselves, like even right now, like I feel great. I work out every day. Like even right now, I feel very confident in who I am while I'm
Yeah.
interviewing you right now, just because I feel like I look good. I feel like I look good, and I feel like I'm
Yeah.
healthy. And it's that discipline. And I got to tell you the opposite of that. I think we've all been on the opposite of that, where we know we can do better. And
Hmm.
maybe it's a lack of education. Maybe it's just the five associations that we're around. Because if we're around four people that they're eating Reese's Pieces all the time and
Yeah.
Oreos and they're always getting dessert. And even though I love all that, and I'm sure a lot of people do, we're just going to say, sure, sure, I'll have some too. And the
Yeah.
problem is, if we're not around the right people that are kind of motivating us or around the right association,
Hmm.
we're going to absorb kind of their lack of, motivation.
Sure.
But when we're around a different environment of people, we can start to get healing from the inside, because a lot of times we're emotional eaters. So like you said, like
Yeah.
we're doing this stuff. So tell me a little bit about, well, I'm going to talk about your program too in a second, but tell me about how can somebody start to heal from the inside out so that
Yeah.
they can look at food different, look at themselves different, and start to really love themselves enough to never get past a certain weight, not because
Mhm.
of, ego, or not because of vanity, just because they love themselves enough.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the biggest thing is like you mentioned guilt here a little while ago. So,
Mhm.
um, you can obviously, I mean, my passion is the energy healing. So, getting with a practitioner, getting with an energy healer who can, muscle test what exactly does your body need. I mean, the muscle
Mhm.
testing is the most powerful tool. And if for people who don't know what muscle testing is, I'll just explain it for just a second. But
Mhm.
it's tapping into your subconscious using muscle testing. And, I have clients all over the world, so I can connect to you energetically, ask
Mhm.
subconscious, yes and no questions on, is this food, good for you? Is this food bad for you? So we can tap into your subconscious, and your subconscious knows everything about you. It's it's your computer. Um, but yeah, so you can start obviously by energy healing,
Mhm.
and finding out what really works for you. But that guilt and that shame, I mean, that can just be this constant downward spiral. If you're always shaming yourself because you ate a dessert or you ate too much,
Mhm.
And that is just adding and adding and adding to your emotional baggage. So to kind of just free yourself of, okay, I'm not going to shame myself, and just knowing that to get to your goal, it is, it's a journey. So there's progress. And like, if you get derailed for a day or two, that's okay. Get back on track. Don't beat yourself up, because it's going to make your situation worse. And there's just more imbalances to be released when you create those. So it's really like giving yourself freedom. And what I love about, my program in the energy healing is really giving you clarity and, clarity on like, okay, you should go this direction with your diet and your exercise. And we're doing, the energy healing to release those imbalances, just to help you along the way. So hopefully that answered your question there.
Absolutely. Well, let's do the next segment. Let's bridge over to the program that you started. I mean, by the way, I think you mentioned it, but you're a wife and you're a mother of two, I believe, right? You have two children?
Yes.
Yes. But at the same time, you're a great mother, great wife, but you really are an entrepreneur-minded person. And you have great entrepreneur presence. You're very smart. You're very, you're just very good at what you do and very passionate with people. So that's why I wanted you to come on here, because I really want to have you discuss this incredible program that you've really created from scratch yourself, based on your own experiences working with so many clients, et cetera. Talk a little bit about what is the name of this program, what it does specifically for people that might be struggling, with guilt, with weight, whether they need to gain some or lose some, and just really looking in that mirror and just feeling like they're just never good enough, and maybe they're going through the societal, Instagram, Facebook, and all the edited photos, and how that, you versus your persona that, people think, but then they meet people in real life and like, wait a minute, you don't look that good in real life. Because we can edit our pictures and stuff. So there's a lot of lack of self-love out there. So tell me a little bit about your program, what it does, and how people can maybe take action on that.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that. So yes, so this has been my passion for so long, and it was the energy healing piece that kind of allowed me to pull it all together and create this, what I think is a fantastic program, and can help so many people. But it's called the Weight Breakthrough Guide: Healing to Optimum Health and Ideal Weight. So I love, we want to get to that ideal weight, like what is right for you. And like I said, whether it's gaining weight or losing weight, and also, that optimum health piece, like maybe for athletes who are in high school, college, or professional athletes who are already doing an amazing job at, their workout routine and the food that they eat, but they know like they're trying to get a little bit faster, a little bit more just a little bit better at their discipline. So absolutely, energy healing can help, help in that. But what I like to do is, so I have created this program that has 160 factors. So 160 factors that can be, preventing you from reaching your goal. So, I obviously have the obvious ones. Are you eating too much? Are you maybe eating too little? Is your digestion working at 100%? So it's all those kind of obvious ones. But from all of my experience, I have come up with so many different factors in there that you really wouldn't think about. And I'll give you guys one little, tip, or just one of the factors that maybe you wouldn't think of, but it's like the clothes that you're wearing. Like if you're wearing something that's too tight, that can absolutely be a factor in the way that your body is functioning. So some people might think like, my yoga pants, they should be kind of form-fitting or whatever. Maybe they're too tight and your body is not circulating and your blood is not circulating. And you're maybe even bloating because your clothing is too tight. So that's just like one of those factors that I not think about, but it's on the list. So I have 160 factors, but you'll have to get a session with me if you want to really, dig in. And of course, we'll muscle test exactly what's impacting you. But the 160 factors is what I will test and what I will do a healing session about. We could do one or two factors. There's really good products that I have that are available if you want to use that in addition to the energy healing. So I will muscle test this list of products that I have that I love. and see if one of those or two of those works really well for you to help you get to your goals. And of course, if you need like an exercise plan or a food plan, that is available too. So it just really depends on like, what comes up in your session and what you need to focus on. And then my favorite little thing that I do kind of at the end of the session is kind of give you a small little homework assignment. So if it's like a food that you need to eat for the next week or so, I'll give you like, okay, make sure to eat, pineapple. If pineapple is what you need to eat for the next week, do that. Or if there's a food that you need to avoid for the next couple of days, so I give you one little like homework assignment just to kind of keep, being able to progress between sessions.
Yep. Well, when you go to the grocery store, you have usually the organic, the vegetables, the fruit, and then you have the breads, and then, everyone knows what a grocery store looks like. And you mentioned a chiropractor and stuff like that. Well, same with me, once I got my blood drawn, once I actually, a lot of times people are like, well, I want to be gluten-free or I'm a vegetarian. I just think, don't make that decision until you get blood work, because in the blood work, it will also show you on, I call it the conscious side. This is the more of the conscious side, because we're also talking about the subconscious. With muscle testing and stuff like that, but it also just shows you, okay, you're not gluten, free, or you need iron, so therefore you need to eat steak once a week, and not just because you hate to hurt animals. So it's not just a fad. So I think we have to be careful looking at news and Instagram and keto, and because at the end of the day, food, you need to eat the right food for you. That's right for your blood type. Now, if someone doesn't have the resources and stuff like that, what you're saying is pretty cool. So I just want to spend just 2 minutes on muscle testing, and then I want you to do the session on me so people can see it. So muscle testing, I love sway testing. I know there's different where you can use your hands and stuff like that. What sway testing is I'll say a statement. So I'll stand up. I won't do it right now, but I'll stand up and I will say something out loud. Like, my name is Todd Cahill, right? So if I say my name is Mickey Mouse, I'm not gonna move forward. I'm gonna go kind of sway back. So this is almost like a real life lie detector test, right? To yourself. So it's just like, tell me a little bit about what you like. Is it sway testing? Is it muscle testing? What do you prefer? What do you really promote in your course? And maybe a little bit of a background of what muscle testing is.
Yeah, sure. So I definitely started off with this sway test when I started, to practice muscle testing. So if you say a true statement, if you're standing up and you say a true statement, your body will sway just gently forward. So that's a true statement. And if you happen to say a false statement, your body will sway gently back. I have, and then once I got kind of comfortable with that, then I went to the ring and ring method. So that's my favorite method right now. But I mean, we can tap into our subconscious, so I can test myself. I can connect to any world, and you'll see here in just a second that I'll connect to you, Todd, and, ask your subconscious some questions on, like, what imbalances are preventing you from achieving your goals. And then we might even test like for one or two foods that you maybe need to eat or avoid. But I mean, the muscle testing is like by far the most powerful tool I have ever come across. And so that's why I rely on it so heavily. It's just so amazing. And then I'll be here in a second how to use it.
Yeah. And you could also be a relational coach, because you can have people that say, I want to get married, and say, okay, I'm going to muscle test if you guys are a good match. Nope. You're not. I'm just kidding. We'll let that one go. But let's do it on me, because I think it's so cool to do this live and publicly, because a lot of people just never heard of it. And I think it's one of the coolest things, like you said, out there. So I'm game. So go ahead and start.
Awesome. So right before my sessions, I always say just a little 5 to 10 second prayer. So I'm going to take a moment of silence for just a second, and then we'll get started. Okay. So Todd, is there, a goal that you're trying to achieve that maybe you just want a little bit of help in, whether it's, some sort of physical or health goal that you're trying to reach?
Yes, I want my 8-pack.
Okay. Well, and you guys, I mean, you guys, if you know Todd, like he takes very good care of himself. Like he mentioned earlier, he works out daily. I know he's very cognizant of what he's eating, you know, taking the supplements that are great for him. So like this, so I would put him in that, you know, that optimal health category. Like you don't need to gain weight or lose weight. So this is just kind of like getting you to that next level. Okay. So
the V, I want and the visceral fat in the lower abdomen to, like, you know, be flushed out, any toxins obviously to be released.
okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to put here, okay. So it's the visceral fat, and you want, I'm going to put extremely defined abs. How does that sound to you?
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. And then you said toxins. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see here. So connected. And of these three goals that he mentioned, what should we work on today? Is it going to be the visceral fat, extremely defined abs, or toxins? Okay. So toxins is what's coming up. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see here. All right. So what is the big, so I'm going over to my program. So what is the biggest factor that is preventing toxins from being, you know, expelled from his body? It's going to be on the first page. Oh, okay. So it's actually what's coming up is beauty, skin, and self-care products. So let's see here. Okay, so basically, those are the toxins that you have, and so let's see what can we release in order to just really help your body flush these toxins out. Let's see here. Go to toxins. Okay, what's coming up first is a stimulant, and I think it's going to be caffeine. Yes, it is caffeine. So caffeine is kind of there, and it's holding you back. So. Okay, so let's go ahead and release this. Okay. Okay, so do we have an underlying imbalance beneath your caffeine toxicity? Yes, we do. Let's see what that is. Okay, so the next thing that's coming up is a will to resist. Let's see how old you were when you got this energy. So this is actually from age 3. So is this your own? No, absorbed, shared. Okay, this is shared with mom, shared with dad. Okay, so this is shared with your dad. And does anything come up from age 3? I don't know if you remember that far back, but a will to resist.
From my dad, a will to resist from my dad. Anything?
Yeah.
Not really, no, because I can't really remember below 5.
You were young. Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, that's all we need to know. I've released that. That's gone. And do we have an underlying imbalance beneath this will to resist? Yes, we do. Okay. Biofilm. Okay, so there's an energy of a pathogen, and it's a biofilm. Energy of biofilm. Okay. Let's go ahead and release that. Okay, so is there anything else that we can release today to really just help his body flush out these toxins that he has from beauty, skin, and self-care products? Is there anything else that we can release? Yes. Okay, what's coming up is an idea allergy. Let's see how old you were. Idea allergy, 1, 2, 3. Okay, age 2. And the idea allergy is to Okay, an idea, allergy to resentment. And so that was from age 2. Do we need to know anything more about it? Okay, we actually do. Was this absorbed? Okay, it was absorbed. Absorbed from mom. Okay, this was absorbed from mom. Okay, can we go ahead and release this? Yes. Okay, let's get rid of that. So I can just see, you know, this will to resist and, you know, resentment. Those are kind of just things just, you know, causing you to hold on, like having your body just hold on to these toxins. So I can see how like your body's just having trouble just flushing out these toxins. So let's see here. Okay, so the severity of this issue now, let's see, is it 0? Okay, so now it's 0%, even though I didn't check in advance, now it's down to 0. But what I want to check for you now is maybe a food that will help promote, you know, your body releasing these toxins. So let's see, it will just help your body. Okay, is it on this page? Yes, it's on this page. Is it on the first column? Yes. Okay, so green grapes is actually a food that you can eat that will help your body to flush out these toxins.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sounds great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So I'll just see here. Should he have like a serving of grapes each day for the next week? No, more than a week. Okay, 7, 8. So about for 8 days, if you can just have like 1 serving of green grapes for the next 8 days, that's really going to help flush out these toxins.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. So that's just a little sampling of what a session is like. We really figure out like, what are your goals? What is holding you back?
Right.
Those releasing those imbalances. And of course it would be, you know, a longer session, be a 30-minute session. And then, you know, I love, you know, doing a small little test on food. If food is not what comes up in the session, then I like giving just a little tip and advice and like, okay, you can eat this food this week and it's going to help you in your goal.
That's awesome. And I really appreciate that. And I think everyone, you know, is probably like, when is it my turn? You know? So, yeah. Well, Monique, you know, I know we got to run to go to another Zoom, but where can people find you on Instagram and really connect with you and really get to that next level? Because I think this is vitally important for everybody because we all eat food. We all need this kind of education that we're not getting anywhere really else. So where can everyone find you on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, so on Facebook, it's Monique Jose, and on Instagram, it's monique.jose. And if you guys have any questions, like, you know, is this program, you know, what I need? Is it what I'm looking for? Just, you know, message me and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Very good. And I highly recommend Monique. I wouldn't just put her on my personal platforms and also our business platforms if I didn't trust her, if I didn't really endorse her personally, because she is the real deal. So I definitely recommend inbox her. Super affordable stuff too. We're not talking, you know, anything crazy or anything, but just to have that kind of information. And then also you're teaching people how to muscle test themselves because, you know, you learn that too. And I learned that, like I can muscle test, like if I have to make a major decision, I can muscle test it. If I'm even taking nutritional products, I actually have some here, and I can muscle test it. And the body actually will react and you will feel the yes from your body. So it's not even just making a decision, you actually feel it. And if there's any like weirdness, that's from your body. So just understanding that decision-making process, because life is filled with a bunch of decisions. So to learn that muscle testing is critical for anyone's, you know, future if they want a very compelling future. So Monique, thanks so much for this. I appreciate you, and definitely contact Monique, everybody, to get more information about her program and really what she can offer you. So appreciate you again, Monique. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thanks, everyone.